Listen up, fans. It's a new day. It's a new day. Hey, we are back, boys. We are back, people. We are back, Sandbox fans. And you wonder why I'm so hyped? We got a coach that is ready to lead this team to glory. But before that, talk to him, Ma. How you been?
Man, I've been a-okay, man. And I'd like for us I'd like for those Patriots fans out there to thank us for pushing the needle and getting Vrabel in the door because that interview that he had with New York scared people. After he interviewed with us, they fired Gerard within 24 hours and hired him within 48. So shout out to the Patriots for getting their guy. And y'all need to thank us a little bit, man. I'm doing good. Otherwise, we still in the mix with all the coaches going around and GMs. We don't got a GM, but it's playoff football, so it's action time, and I'm enjoying every second.
Yes, sir. It is action time, and it has been a blast to bring y'all this pod on a week-to-week basis because the NFL is heating up. And frankly, if you've been following us for a while, me and Maul have said it before. NFL offseason is unmatched, right, Maul?
100%. NFL is not a 8 month long season. It is it's a 12-month long season. 365. From the Super Bowl, you go straight into the combine to the draft to free agency. It's almost like the NFL didn't go nowhere from March all the way until about August because there's so much action going on. It trumps every other sport when it comes to the excitement behind the offseason. And there's always a ton to talk about. Honestly, if you don't know, guys, if you don't know me and Chris, we both 6'8", 6'9". We hoopers.
Yeah.
But this NFL thing,
Different.
this NFL thing hit different, man. So that's why we giving y'all what we love the most, man.
Yes, sir. What we love the most. And first and foremost, we got playoff football. So we got to dive in to who's going to win and why. Talk to me, Maul. First game I want to talk about is Chiefs versus the Texans. Who's winning that and why?
Come on, man. If the Zebras got anything to do with it, I'm going with Pat Holmes. Not only that, I'm not even going to discredit what the Texans had going on. But you're going up against the marketability behind the Swifties and them Zebras, man. It's clear cut. CJ Stroud had a mediocre year. They played against a mediocre team week one. I wouldn't say mediocre. Let me revamp that. They played against the Chargers. The Chargers played well. No, they didn't play well. Justin Herbert didn't play well. But they played against Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. And I think a lot of people expected for the Chargers to walk away with a victory, but C.J. Stroud thought otherwise. But your time is up, buddy, because you played up against the Zebras and the Swifties. Give me the Chiefs. Easy.
Yeah, this is going to be easy peasy. I'm not entirely sure what the spread is right now, but I'm going to take it on the Chiefs. I like CJ Stroud. I like what the Texans have done as a whole this year. And honestly, I like that they were able to compete in that game against the Chargers. I didn't really book them to do really anything, mainly because their offensive line has been poor and they've got some injuries at receiver. But Stroud came to play. And that D'Amico's Ryan's defense came to play. But we ain't getting this far in the NFL and watching Mahomes losing no divisional round, bro. Just like, not even for the football. Not even for the football. For the marketability standpoint. The Chiefs are going to win. And I'm not going to tell you who they play in the next round yet, but the Chiefs are going to win. Talk to me, Maul. Next game. And this one could be interesting. We got the Lions versus the Commanders. Who you got?
This is another cakewalk, unfortunately. I mean, I'm going to have to go with the Detroit Lions, man. They are on a roll. When I say on a roll. Their offense hasn't been stopped. When you look at their defense, they're depleted on the defensive end. But I'd have to say that my favorite secondary to watch in the entire NFL is the Detroit Lions. Their secondary is young. They're all over the field. And, they're hard to be stopped. Playoff football, I think the Lions were highly upset about how they left the season last year. They don't have the San Francisco 49ers in front of them. So I'd imagine that the Lions are going to be easily walking their way into the Super Bowl. So give me the Lions.
Beat my actions, gang. is because that boy Jaden, he might just pick the world up and he gonna drop it on the Listen,
No way.
listen, bro. Listen. Somebody I was talking to earlier, I don't remember who. Somebody was telling me Jaden might be young, but that boy is not a rookie. Here's my thing. I love the Detroit Lions. I love what they have on offense. I love what Aaron Glenn has been doing with that defense. But something about this game feels off. I think that here's my thing. If you watch the game on Sunday with Jaden Daniels, obviously their defense wasn't able to stop Mike Evans. He was going to town on him. But Jaden, when he had the ball in his hands, bro, Jaden was incredible. And he is unfazed in times of trouble and terror. Like in the fourth quarter, I've never seen a rookie more calm. And I think that the Commanders are going to keep this game close down to the stretch. And the Lions do not want that with this kid. Give me the Commanders, dog. Give me the Commanders to beat the Lions at home, bro. And I know it's not a likely thing, but I got this weird itch about this Commanders team, bro. Give me the Manders.
You know what's crazy? The fact that you elected them to beat the Lions. And
Yeah.
I can't remember what the hunch was last week, but I don't think you had the Commanders beating the Bucks.
I did.
You did? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Well, yeah, honestly, your take on Jaden Daniels, I think we've been saying it before the draft. In terms of just quarterback talent out in this draft, he was arguably the most talented. Drake was in that conversation, obviously Caleb as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we always thought of Jaden Daniels being the most NFL ready, or his skill set tying in with NFL team needs for the most part, and he's shown it. His confidence is above par.
Ridiculous.
I don't know how much credit we'd want to give Cliff Kingsbury, but when he's behind the helm at quarterback, you don't feel like you have those rookie nerves.
Come on now.
He's him, for sure.
Listen, this is going to be an interesting one. This is my shock of the weekend. But to keep moving on, we got the Eagles versus the Rams. Who's winning them all?
Eagles versus the Rams is actually more of a close game than people think. As I said last week, I think McVay's on his way out, but he might want to be on his way out with a bang. And I won't say this year is going to be his last year, especially if he makes it far into the playoffs. But the Eagles have come too far to lose to the 10-7 Rams. I got the Eagles, man.
So here's what stressed me out about the Eagles as a whole. Jordan Love played like shit, to be being real. Played bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles weren't pulling away from them. And here's the issue, is that their offense, it runs through Saquon, and Saquon's been awesome, but their offense doesn't put teams away, and it doesn't get on top of teams and really stomps them out. My thing is, a team that's healthy like the Rams, when you got Puka that's playing the way he is, you got Cooper Kupp that's playing the way he is, and a team that's, they still show a bit of disjointed with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and that's not just because A.J. Brown's going to be a Patriot because Mike Vrabel's there, but that's another story for another time. That team, I don't know. This game's more of a toss-up for me. I'm going to take the Eagles, but I'm not going to put bread on this because I think that this is actually going to be one of those games that's going to really scare a lot of bettors. I'd say stay away from this, but I'll take the Eagles cautiously. Last but not least, though, Buffalo versus the Ravens. Talk to me.
Game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to
Schedule
MVP
makers.
candidates and schedule makers. And I really wanted to address the AJ to the Patriots thing, but I'm gonna just leave that alone right now.
No, go ahead.
Game of the week. Nah, it's all good. We on the game of the week. But here's what I would say about AJ Brown and Rabel. You could take that diva. I'm not an Eagles fan, but just trust. When you have a rookie quarterback and you have someone who wants to renew his contract every year, coach, no coach, bro, I am not putting my rookie quarterback in a situation to where he has to deal with A.J. Brown. But that might just be divisional hate. I don't know. But let's get to the Bills and the Ravens game. This game is going to be a battle of the MVPs. And I think that Lamar is going to take one home. I think he's going to get a chance to rematch with Pat Mahomes from last year. The Chiefs kicked the Ravens' ass.
Mm-hmm.
This year, you got Derrick Henry. You know, I wouldn't even say they got much better outside of Derrick Henry, but they are a better team. Statistically, Lamar is insane.
Yeah, he's been
here. So, I just think the Bills, though stellar and though Josh Allen is who he is him. I think that the Ravens just have so much more to work with than the Bills do. The Bills have a decent defense. They got guys that are on the older end. When it comes to Milano and Von Miller, their secondary is kind of in question. Really good corner in Tyron Johnson, but the offense, the running game is solid. But there's not much to talk about when it comes to the receiving core. Young, old, it's kind of like in between. And the Ravens just have so much more to look forward to. So it'll be a battle of Josh Allen and Lamar, and Joe Brady and Todd Monken. And I'm going to have to go with Lamar and Todd Monken this time.
Yeah, I'll keep it real with you, bro. That boy Lamar is playing special football right now. Special football. And I feel bad for the Bills because I think the worst matchup for them is the Ravens in terms of how they play. The way Derrick Henry goes, the way Josh Allen goes, the way all of them go. I mean, the way Lamar Jackson goes against them. I don't know. I don't see a path to Buffalo winning this, even though it's at their crib. I don't see a path to Buffalo winning this because I think that the Ravens are playing lights out football. Give me Lamar to win this joint and the MVP. Honestly, it's not even that hot of a take. I think it's the Ravens' year. I think they get over a hump this year. I guess we'll see how it continues to go. But if you were taking a bet now, I would take the Ravens to win the bowl and Lamar MVP and win you some money.
Hunch.
One hunch, bro.
There's still Pat there, and there's still the Swifties, but I don't disagree, man. I want the Ravens to win, actually. Get Pat out of here. No hate. But I want to kind of hate. I still just want to see Lamar holding up that Lombardi. So shout out to the Ravens, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to them teams. And also, just like we said, shout out to NFL offseason, bro. We got some coaching carousel to get into, bro. We got to talk about there are a lot of jobs open. And, I didn't want to start here because this is one that you and I really care about. How many people are the Jets going to interview, bro? Talk about the Jets for me. They interviewing seven every day. I'm seeing Schefter tweet something different about this new guy that the Jets are bringing in. Whether it's Aaron Glenn, Rex Ryan, the cook at my job, the dude that used to do the crossing guard down the street by my school. Like, goodness gracious, what's going on, bro?
Yo, I forgot to tell you. I'm next week, bro. Next week.
Yeah, I figured
You
it.
got me in the door, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, in all honesty, man, I feel like it's the time to cast a wide net because we have a young nucleus. So here's the thing. We have 4 guys who are still on their rookie deals that we can legit build around. 5 guys, actually. Considering Olu Fashanu, our rookie from last year. Still on rookie deals that we can legit build around, and it's time to do so. So why not cast a wide net? The thing is about the New York Jets is that we are doing so when there's so many other teams. I wouldn't say so many other, but there's about 5 or 6 other teams looking to acquire coaches that we've already interviewed. So if we're interviewing 20 and these teams are interviewing 4 or 5, then we know that the other 16 that we done interviewed ain't in nobody else's mind. So let's get to it, guys. I think, and for each team, I really dissected team needs and, the thought process behind the coach that they hire. And I also considered 2 options for each team that we'll probably talk about tonight. One option for the Jets specifically is Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Here's the thing about Aaron Glenn. If we don't know, he was a Parcells corner for the New York Jets. During the expansion era when the Houston Texans became an NFL team, we had to give Aaron Glenn away. Now, here is why I love the fit for Aaron Glenn in New York, although he's just one of those options, right? One thing that we've seen is that Aaron Glenn really knows how to run a defense. A really, really depleted defensive team with the Detroit Lions this year still showed out and performed. I mean, the scores didn't show it, but he had guys really playing, going the extra mile. More
Ike.
specifically, I love the secondary of the Detroit Lions. Not the fact that they are just stellar, but they are young, gritty, and they go after everything. People and players may hate Kirby Joseph, but he's arguably one of my favorite young safeties in the league because he's real gritty.
Yeah.
What, he had 2 interceptions his last game, back to back.
Yeah, doggy.
You got Brian Branch balling, rookie out of Alabama. And then you got Terod Armstead, I think his name is. I can't remember the rookie's name. Their first round pick.
Amik Robinson.
Not Amik Robinson. He's another kid. He was actually on the Raiders many moons ago. He locked up
Terrion
Justin
Arnold.
Jefferson. Terrion Arnold. Dude,
Yeah, didn't
just imagine giving Aaron Glenn a Sauce Gardner, a Quincy Williams, a Quinnen Williams, a Jermaine Johnson, a Will McDonald, who was 3rd in the league in sacks after we thought he was an ass defensive end.
A Will Johnson.
Huh?
A Will Johnson, potentially.
Cornerback Will Johnson. Let's not get into the mocks yet, but this is my guy right here. Cornerback Will Johnson. We got to go Will Johnson. We're losing DJ Reed. Why not go Will Johnson? Are you kidding me? I won't dive too much into it, but clearly Aaron Glenn is my favorite option for the New York Jets. And I think he can get the guys over the hump. On the offensive end, that's something that we're still all considering because we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It doesn't make sense for us to trade up to get a quarterback in this QB class this year. It's just, I don't know. Second option would be good old Brian Flores. And this is why I like Brian Flores for the Jets. It's because he might have a bone to pick with a few people within our division. He led the Vikings on the defensive end. He assisted in leading the Vikings to a 14-2 record. Yesterday, Brian Flores and his defense looked horrible.
It was bad.
Bad. But the reason why I have Brian Flores on my list of option B for the New York Jets is, one, he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Stellar coach. He's an assertive leader of men. And, he's from Brooklyn, man. Why not give the guy from Brooklyn a shot? Hometown hero. Come back and lead our defense. I don't know what his bone to pick is with the quarterbacks that he has had on his team as a head coach. He didn't like Tua. Aaron Rodgers is a very strong personality. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers is still in the building? That's just the biggest question marks for me, but Brian Flores should definitely be the second candidate for us.
Yeah, man. I think when I think about the Jets, this one makes just too much sense, man. I got to go Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn's going to go back there. He's a big defensive guy. The Jets want to go defense. He's a guy that I think can come in and lead a room and lead a group of guys. He's a former Jet. And if I'm not mistaken, Woody Johnson was owned the team while he was there. Yeah, Aaron Glenn just makes a ton of sense. You got a young defense that you can still build around. I think one thing that stood out to me is that as soon as they fired Saleh, the defense became exponentially worse. I'm not saying it's necessarily a Saleh thing, but I think you could bring Aaron Glenn in there, and you need a guy in the same way that the Pats needed Mike Vrabel. You need a guy that's going to come in there and knock some heads, like a guy that's going to right the ship in terms of not being a player's coach. He's going to be there for the players, of course, but a guy that's going to shake it up. So I like Aaron Glenn to the Jets. I mean, Brian Flores, I like, but I think he's going somewhere else that we'll get to. Talk to me, man. What's up with the Saints job? Who's going there?
Because of the similarities with the situation in New York, I had Aaron Glenn as an option for the Saints, and it's because he was appointed a coaching role with the New Orleans Saints as one of his first coaching jobs. He was a scout for the New Orleans Saints. He was a coach with Sean Payton, so he's familiar with a winning culture in New Orleans. So he was a guy that I listed. But my favorite for New Orleans is actually a guy who was also on the Saints coaching staff for a short stint, but you can tell that the Saints really want a high-powered offense. And we don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback position because they're in cap hell. So how are you going to run with a strong-armed Derek Carr? You bring in a guy who led a strong-arm quarterback this year into possibly winning MVP. My favorite for the Saints job, if not McCarthy, Joe Brady, man. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator out of Buffalo. Again, short stint in New Orleans. He went to Carolina, did pretty well. But he has been, a major source for Josh Allen in Buffalo this season. Josh Allen has given him credit in a sense. He says that Joe Brady sucks, so no one should hire him. And we all know what that means. And I feel like Joe Brady has been teetering around the guys that are options for head coaches for a few years, and I think it might be his time, man. Joe Brady might work out in New Orleans.
Yeah, to me, this one, it's not necessarily a no-brainer, but I think this one makes a lot of sense for Brian Flores, too. The issue with Brian Flores, from what I've seen, is he can't really work with young quarterbacks. It's what it is. You need someone that's established, you need someone that's a vet, that's going to come in, take really hard coaching, but also someone that's going to do and steer the ship in the right direction. Derek Carr fits that bill, mainly because I don't think the Saints can go another direction in terms of quarterback right now. I think, like you said, they're in cap hell. But Brian Flores makes a ton of sense to go there, rebuild what was that, that Saints defense, and take it to the next level, but also have a quarterback that's going to pretty much steer the offensive ship for him. Give me Brian Flores and the Saints. Tell me, man, who is taking that Raiders job?
The Raiders job is funny because, honestly, I have no clue where the Raiders are going in terms of just their direction.
Yeah.
But there are a few candidates that, I think are going to consider the Raiders more specifically because of Tom Brady. At first, I had Brian Flores as an option, but there's some different things that occurred during Brian Flores' time in Miami that may sway Brady and the guys away from going the Flores route. And I had a guy just because he's going to be allowed to kind of revamp the ship, and because of the tight end play in Brock Bowers and what we saw out of Sam Laporta. I had a guy in Ben Johnson that would have been a good fit for the Raiders, actually. I think there's a few things to consider, right? Are the Raiders going to trade up for a quarterback? Like, what are they actually going to be doing? There's two quarterbacks that are considered the first two picks of the draft, and those first two picks go to teams that are going to teams that may be in need of a quarterback. So the direction, I'm not sure. But with the players that he can kind of build around, and Brock Bowers and whomever else the Raiders are going to get, I don't know, just Brock Bowers. Ben Johnson is in need of a coaching job. I had one other team, two other teams actually that may be, circling around the Ben Johnson option, but, he's a big fan of Brady, so I had him as the leading candidate for Vegas.
This one to me screams Ben Johnson because, and I know it's a big market, Ben Johnson, from as far as I understand, is a hard-nosed coach, but is also a big study guy. I need to go in the room for hours and be kind of by himself, introverted. And I think that mirrors exactly who the quarterback that is now partial owner of that team is. I think they're having a lot of conversations about what that's going to look like. I think Tom probably loves everything Ben Johnson's about. Because Tom was Ben Johnson as far as players go. And hot take, when Ben Johnson takes his job, I think at 6, they're going to lean Quinn Ewers. I know it doesn't make a ton of sense given how he's looked. But in terms of talent, Quinn and Jared Goff. Quinn and Jared Goff are like the same player in terms of what they like to do. And I think Ben can go there and revitalize Quinn and really take that team to the next level. Obviously, they're going to need a couple more pieces on offense. But that team could be scary with Ben Johnson leading the helm.
Quinn Ewers. Let's see if he doesn't go back to school, but not a bad hunch.
Yeah, man. Talk to me. This one is the hardest one for me. But Jags. What's happening with the Jags?
The Jags is a team with an owner that's just heavily involved.
Yeah.
And he says things that are just wild. I think someone had asked him, like, if you hire a head coach who's just not in good relations with the GM, what are you going to do with the GM? And he said, well, we'll make a change. And the GM was sitting right next to bro. Like, that was the wildest press conference I've seen. The GM was sitting next to bro, and he was baffled by
Yeah.
that statement. And you know what I think? There's two teams right now in the NFL that need a coach that are looking for more so of an experienced coach. They lost Doug Peterson, but I don't think that they're going to go with this new offensive mind that is just going to cater to the quarterback position. I think they're going to go a vetted coach, and I think they're going to kind of get this guy up off of his couch a little bit. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't discredit Pete Carroll as one of those guys. I feel like he has the ability to not only coach, but he also has a bit of a GM mindset. Let's see what the Jags do with their head coach position, because I wouldn't discount the thought of them making Pete Carroll coach slash GM. I don't know, but I feel like Mr. Khan is just super willing to do whatever. To consider his team as contenders. They made the playoffs last year, so he feels like they're probably still in that range. And, you know, with a coach like Pete Carroll, who knows? You know, he's a winning coach. Let's see what he does. And I feel like outside of Ben Johnson, with partnering Ben Johnson with a young quarterback and a young receiver, you know, I'd have to go with Pete Carroll as their option.
See, I had this guy slated elsewhere until recent adaptations that we're going to get into. But I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury here, dude. I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury. He's great with young quarterbacks, but he's also great with making sure that they stay, or like, you know, building their young careers out, even if it doesn't start off the way that it looks, that they want it to look necessarily. Obviously, you have the issues with Cliff Kingsbury's teams petering off down the stretch. But I think Cliff would salivate at the opportunity to work with Trevor Lawrence and with Brian Thomas Jr. and really revamp this team. But if I'm real, I don't think it's going to matter. I just think the Jags are going to stink, so it's perfect. Go ahead there, Cliff, and have fun and, you know, lose, and it's not going to matter that much. But I think Cliff Kingsbury's going to Jacksonville.
You know, I'm surprised at the fact that Cliff Kingsbury's name is just not out there for the coaching roles. Like, I've seen a ton of lists out with coaches that are gearing up to interview with certain vacancies, but Cliff Kingsbury's name is just not one that I've seen. Maybe because they're still in the playoffs, but great option, because he could fit not only there, but another team that we haven't discussed yet, really.
Talking about Chicago?
Definitely talking about Chicago. And I feel like he might be the best fit for Caleb Williams. I feel like, you know, their short stint of familiarity in college plays a major role. Cliff Kingsbury, his name is a word tire, whatever. His offense in Washington showed that he knows what the hell he's doing.
Yes, sir.
And I think he can go ahead and get a guy like Caleb Williams to just settle the hell down. Caleb Williams ran people away from liking him. Like, he just ran from side to side. He spun, he jumped with defenders not even being around.
Doing the most.
DJ Moore walked off the field in the midst of him looking for a receiver. So I think Kingsbury is going to be one of those guys who could really settle him down. If not Cliff Kingsbury in Chicago, you know, I feel like the Bears GM really wants somebody who's going to be a leader of men, a winning coach, and someone who may be familiar with that division, who just parted ways with his previous team, is Mike McCarthy. And I think Mike McCarthy is familiar with the NFC North. He's been a coach in the NFC North for 13 years prior to being in Dallas. He's coached young and old quarterbacks. Can't say he really groomed Aaron Rodgers, but he played a part. And he might be an option too, but Cliff Kingsbury is going to be my number one option in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of Cliff to Chicago as well. I think that he probably would love to work with Caleb, but I think Chicago is going to ink this deal with Mike McCarthy very, very, very soon. Just as someone that can steady the ship, someone that's wins, but also someone that can kind of be steered by that ownership that seems to be a little bit hands-on. Like, Ryan Poles is a pretty good GM in my opinion, but I think they want someone that's going to listen to them and follow what they do. And he's a winning coach. He's a good offensive mind. I don't really necessarily think that he was the issue in Dallas. Maybe it just wasn't working, but I like it. I like Mike McCarthy there. Lastly, bro, America's team. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they can do. I think they're going to be in cap hell here soon, but talk to me. Who's going there, bro?
Yo, here's my thing. My first assumption for the Dallas Cowboys. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Bro, they would not do that." Rah rah rah. I just feel like there was just a list of things wrong with that organization when this offensive coordinator was let go, and I feel like he didn't receive the credit that he deserved at the time when he was there. Young OC, he's been in a ton of different candidacy lists for head coach. And his running back, Dallas needs a running back. Let's just say this. So here's my thing with how Dallas can shift things this offseason. Dallas needs a running back, right? Ashton Genty might fall to the Dallas Cowboys better than anyone has ever fallen in the draft. It just is like the perfect fit for those two, Ashton Genty and the Dallas Cowboys. Second to that, Ashton Genty is a 2,000-yard rusher. And this coach coached a 2,000-yard rusher this year in the NFL.
Ah, here you go.
Give Kellen Moore his shot back in Dallas, man.
Yeah.
High-powered offense. He's been around the entire time. When Herbert didn't have any receivers, he still threw for 4,000 yards under Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Saquon, 2,000-yard rusher, damn near 2,600 all-purpose yards. Crazy. Come on now, let's give Kellen Moore his option. If not Kellen Moore, I've been telling people this for the longest time. And we are now seeing guys like Adam Schefter. We are seeing guys like Louis Riddick talk about this. We are seeing guys like Ian Rappaport talk about this. And Jerry would be the guy to bring prime time to the NFL. Dion cannot be someone that people are going to second guess, because he might be the guy to get that job. I feel like, honestly, the parting ways with McCarthy was a given.
Yeah.
When people started asking for requests to speak to McCarthy, I knew something was up. Then when Dion was like, "I'm not leaving unless I'm coaching my sons."
Yeah.
Yo, Jerry would do whatever,
bro.
Whatever to get Dion in there, and Jerry would also do whatever to move up into that draft to get Shador Sanders, and then he'll take Shiloh in the 7th.
Yeah.
Yo, Dion might be that dark horse, and it's not that dark of a horse type of situation, because he might just be Dallas Cowboys leading candidate right now.
Man.
I would say my bad. I would say the job is deserving to go to Kellen Moore, but 9 times out of 10, Dion might be in Dallas next year, bro.
Hey, dog. How that song go? Must be the money. That boy Dion is trying to get back under them bright lights, dog. That boy Dion is trying to get back under them bright lights. And I know what he says, you gotta look good because you just recruited the number 2 player in the country in Julian Lewis, and you did this and you did that, and you're committed to college. Shut up, Dion.
Right.
Shut up. Come on now. You got an opportunity to go to Dallas. You are prime time. You're always going to be in primetime games. You go to Dallas, you trade Dak to the Browns for their number 2 pick. You probably have to give up a little bit more because Dak ain't a number 2 pick worthy. But you trade Dak to the Browns at number 2 pick. You draft your son. Hell, you go in there, you go and really start shaking stuff up and manage to somehow pull the number 3 pick and go ahead and draft your other adopted son and really turn this thing around and really start shaking stuff up. I'm not saying it's going to be possible. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. What I am saying is, Prime, you go in there and you say what? You say jump, and I can guarantee you behind closed doors, Jerry's going to say how high, bro. Jerry's going to say how high, because if nothing else, your team is going to sell tickets. You're going to sell tickets. You're going to get people in seats because everybody wants to see what Prime is doing. And you could get your boy. You could get your boy, and you could continue to coach your son, and you can really turn this thing up to the next level. Prime, you know you want to, bro. I know you say you love Colorado, but be for real, dog. Be for real. Who's turning down Jerry? No, not even who's turning down Jerry. You ain't turning down Jerry, gang. Right. You ain't turning down Jerry for the opportunity to really be prime freaking time, dog. Saturdays is cool, but you want to be on Sundays and you want to see your boy do it too. Go ahead, Prime. Ink that deal and let's get going.
And not only that, let's think about a few things with prime time. Like one, you ain't gonna say no to Jerry. Two,
Right.
Jerry might make you one of the highest coaches in the NFL. And three, if those buffs stink it up, bro, you might be sitting at home soon. Prime time. You might be sitting at home soon, so you might as well head to Arlington right now.
Yeah. Right meow. Shout out to the coaches out there, bro. Shout out to the opportunities that are available because I think there are a lot of tantalizing opportunities. It makes the NFL so fun, and I can't wait for free agency. But shout out to y'all for tapping in for another fun week. I hope you've enjoyed the playoffs this far, and we got a lot of fun things coming up in the NFL real soon.
Yes, sir. Shout out to you guys for yet another week. Shout out to the Patriots for us handing over this head coach. And shout out to everybody who continues to tap in with us, man. We got a ton of fun things coming along the line for you guys. The football season is almost over, but remain tapped in. There's just information tied to information tied to information, and there's always money to be made. So make sure you listen to Sandbox every week. Back again with you, Maul and Chris. We love y'all. Bow.